Yeah, so I've been a reference probably most of this talk, haven't I, today? Adam that sits in the corner, Adam such. I am Adam Jones, the other one, because we do have two within the business. So I'm the UX prototyper guy. And the reason of my talk today sort of falls into what we actually do and the roles that we intake within our jobs. So the sort of way to explain it to begin with is, well, that should be a little content page. That's what we're going to go through today. If eagle-eyed people from the back. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Roland. What are you doing? I know the X is here, mate.
You can't get the screen in, have you?
I know the screen will be, it's video wizardry later. And also the people that are on the video, Roland's doing weird hand gestures behind us, if you didn't see that. So, the thing to sort of point out first was when I first got the job here, everyone that I told with family and friends, they were like, well done, I'm so happy for you. Didn't think you would achieve anything, thanks Dad, really appreciate the motivation. But when you say UX prototyper, what does that actually mean? Because it sort of falls on the sort of ears where they go, I have no idea what that even refers to. Though I'm going to use this guy today. His name is Doesn't Know Dave. He's going to be a reference to sort of points of the talk where people didn't really get what I was talking about. So yeah, he's going to be here quite often today. And the reason for it was the explanation that I gave. It took about 3, maybe 4 tries for them to actually get what I meant. And the purpose of that was basically trying to go through day-to-day tasks, and they still sort of think, well, I don't get what you mean. What does that actually get? What does that actually mean to it? So a good tool to use, as Dan would say before, a tool to actually reference to would be now Google. Everyone uses that to put a question in, try and get an answer within milliseconds it could be. But I mean, Google's actually fallen short for me today to actually just reference to, because if you put it in, the suggestions we get is, what does a prototyper do? Kind of vague, but it does highlight the area we're going to. What is a prototype in psychology? That's completely off. What is a prototype drug? I hope no one sort of properly knows what that is or tried out. And also, what is a prototype in JavaScript? So we're hitting the ballpark now. We're sort of getting towards what area of our job would be. So because it doesn't help, I sort of thought, I'll go to a dictionary on the web, see what it provides us there. I'm sure it'll be giving us something. So the first one to sort of reference there is a person who creates the first or preliminary version of a device or vehicle from which other forms are developed. Example being the prototyper is creating an early version of a driverless car. And of course many prototypes have come from that because they haven't worked exactly as they thought they would do. And also the second one, which is the best one of the bunch, one who or that which prototypes. That's the moment I leave the room, because that's pretty much, that's it. That makes full sense, but obviously it doesn't still. But the actual naming convention that we have here can actually relate to many different ways that people explain what a UX prototyper is. It could be a rapid engineer, could be a product prototyper, UX developer, UI engineer. So all of these different references all come into one spec or one role. But here within MSM, of course, we have just UX prototyper to refer to that particular person. Now, we sort of step back to the origin of why UX prototypers are brought in. There was a desolate land that had absolutely nothing, and this was called the ULO office in product. I'm sure Roland and the guys at the back would obviously know what this looked like previously. So the UX team came together from forms of different people from creative. They then needed some sort of form of person or even role to get some outputs that they were missing. And this is when the said thing was born. I'd like to thank Jade, who just sits at the front here, who created this, a little bit faded. But we were birthed a creation of this guy, Prototypers Prototypis, which is also the name of the plant in the back right of the room there. So there he is. So that's James Nash, and that is his LinkedIn profile picture.
Professional.
Yeah, exactly. That's currently on a jet ski, so I referenced to as well. So he's the lead UX prototype that was brought in. But he found that the resource was a little bit short and required an extra person to come along. So that's Adam Jones, in brackets, me, just in case you didn't see the sort of black and white in the back there. And that was what formed the team. So I came in sort of midway 2016. James started as the UX prototyper role in midway 2015. So there's a full year of understanding that he really did need someone else to come in and help him out here. And what a help I am. So in doing so, we then sat within product as an extra entity. So this is how our product team looks now. We've got RNA, big shout out there, Roland. customer outcomes, product management as well. Again, a big shout out to Roland. And then the UX, the user experience and prototyping as well. So we sit there within prototyping. The way that the sort of formation of our team and the people that we've got to interact with sort of sits us as well within user experience. As I say, it's got UX in the title. But we actually sit as a separate sort of ad hoc team to do other workings within product itself. So why is the UX part involved? Why is there other bits about your job that sort of sit you in there? Well, there's the three entities of UX, UI and dev. We sort of sit centre to that, more of course towards the dev work, but we need to have that incorporation into all three areas to actually work within our job. And the reason for it is UX can actually provide us what is prepared user cases and well mapped out journeys, the fun things like wireframes as well, and have those even before we start. And then UI side of things, accessible designs, precision web layouts, so margin and paddings have been sorted out as well. And also from a dev point of view, which is different to what a usual dev work would be, is we have now an environment for absolute messy code, so dirty code can be made as long as it works. That's obviously good in our eyes. And then with reusable components, we have an extensible library that we can just add to at each moment. So that's really helpful. That makes us sort of aware of where we sit, why we sort of sit within UX as such, but the output still hasn't been explained to me, Adam, so it doesn't know Dave comes back. Hi, mate. He is still got his hands up in the air, has no idea what we actually do. So not to go into context of everything, because I don't want to bore you, but the main reason for even my inclusion into the team was because of this guy. So the book of Design Sprints by Jake Knapp. He's from Google Ventures, and I'm guessing everyone in the room knows Design Sprints.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't, there's always reference at the end to do so. So it cut the whole design cycle in half, and it made that rapid approach, which is what prototyping really revolves around, is getting quick win outputs in front of users and actually getting them to get us results as soon as they are actually done. So this is where we step in within the actual code. We get, as referenced from Dan's talk, is the Zeppelin is passed to us from the designers. We then have to do the code and all the funky side of things. And actually make a functional prototype for them to use. This is then done using the three core basics, which is HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and keeping it as clean as that means that we don't have all these different random libraries being brought in to make things even more confusing than they should be in what is a quick time environment. So this sort of process, as you say, this sort of reason for getting in front of users sort of makes you think, well, why don't we just use those certain programs that Dan referenced to before, like Azure, like Flinto, like Principal, but there is that break and that barrier in between what we can actually do and produce for users, which is that death chasm that people fall down, that the browsers unfortunately wave on the other side going, why you not help me? And that's why they're sitting on the other side of this. So these things are actually based on the extra sort of functions and extra tools that we can use from a web browser point of view via code itself. So this is now a lovely melee of things on the screen, and it's all to do with the fact that we have access then to web APIs, personalization results, and also live results as well as that. So just a sort of explanation, these were the hackathon that James took out last year, which is to do with taking a car reg via a picture. We got the address API, so we can actually get people to go through a journey by accessing their actual address, and then we've got live results, and even the top right there is just showing a bit of a snappy way of how grid layouts work. Of course, these are all things you can find out if you wanted to reference them on Google as well. But these gave us an extra sort of superpower, as Dan mentioned, which is adding to the fact that you can get users to sit down with Lou and obviously Jace at the back and take them in front of what is a functional prototype, which should be a sort of replicant of what we're expected to get in live results. So this was a way of doing what we would class as A/B testing, and have them actually go ahead and use two versions, and then we can get results on the day basically, and analyse what sort of feelings and ratings they give from there. So I have actually referenced to Lou's talk at the end because it was a wonderful one from last time. If you want to learn a bit more about testing, but this is just an example, as I say, of our recent energy sprint that we did, and it's just showing the control on the left and challenge on the right to give you a bit of taste there. It's a pretty long video, I will be honest. We could sit here and just have coffee, but I'm going to skip it. If you want to watch it later, you can do so. So here I am. sleepy as ever during our 1 week of design sprints. So I say original ideas was Monday to Friday, we'd have a customer problem, come out the end of it by Thursday, we should pass over the designs to the prototypers and then get a coded result out of it as well. But this made us very fatigued. It was a heavy process to take, and of course the code that we were producing may have sometimes be chopped down because we couldn't actually finish things in time or even get to a certain point which made it viable to be on the page. So near the end of last year, we did a retrospect, so we decided to actually turn it into 2 weeks, or then of course even more. But the 2 week sprint decided to give us better results and even cleaner code, so it was a more thorough prototype. It actually made sense of what things worked and why, and also from a stakeholder point of view, they can put as many ideas as they could fill into that space and have it into the working prototype itself. So that's why the change made us go from a grainy, horrible, sad, sleepy man to a lovely man who has glasses now, which I forgot to have as a prop. So apologies for that. So there are other things around our job that we do, which is more ad hoc. As I say, it's to do with product team. There's the super homepage in the top left, which is glorious looking there. We also have the UX Talks registration page that we did just for this particular purpose as well. James has recently done a chatbot through Facebook Messenger to get a spike done with that, and also just even passing over code to some of the devs that are sort of unfamiliar with what processes we went down to actually make, which was a step indicator on this case as well. So with all this code and all these things, as we say, is a reusable case, but where does that actually go? What do we do with the finished product and the prototypes that we actually make? Does it go into the bin? Because Oscar the Grouch would love to have it in his bin, and obviously that would be going into complete unuse afterwards. So we say no to that, naughty Grouch. We actually recycle all the code that we have, and even the prototypes themselves, to then get reused into a functional space for us to then have available again. And whilst in between sprints they may not be used as much, we have the GXP, as Steve mentioned, to showcase some of the ideas and even designs that we have there and then. But we have, as I say, recycled that purpose. It's now going to go to what is the GXP2. And Vue.js, which Steve actually didn't touch on because it's not his side, is the way that we're going to send our actual code into an atomic level as well. And we can then bit piece and brick together things by using this JavaScript library. So there's a reference to that as well. I think at the end, I might be lying to every single one of you, but I'll see. That actually has that purpose as well. So there's a few references to it. I did lie to you, there's no Vue in there, but I can always let you know if you drop me an email. So that is just the sort of summary of what we have, the reason of why we were brought in, and of course from knowing now certain areas and the reasons of having this this tool in a way, not to reference to myself as much as a tool, but there you go. Then cheers. Then you can obviously send the word of what is prototyping.
Wow.
Exactly, yeah, that's me. I'm in brackets there just in case you didn't realise it was such, to say how much of a resource we can actually be. So that's the whole purpose of today. So thank you for listening and sometimes smiling. That helps when you stand in front of a lot of people. And thank you very much for watching today. Cheers.